What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome to the Just Raiders Baby podcast. I'm your host, I am Jay Raider, and today's show we are talking Raiders versus Browns. What a nail-biter. Can't believe we pulled that off with no Crosby, no Adams, and we pulled off the dub. 20-16 was the final score. Raiders all day, every day, baby. Let's go ahead and get into it. The Browns started off with the ball. They started off the game really fast on that opening drive. They went 15 plays for a touchdown. Then later on, they went ahead a 56-yard field goal that put them up 10-0. Our opening drive on that first quarter was kind of garbage. We didn't really produce anything until the second quarter. That's when Minshew and the offense started putting things together. We ended up going ahead and hitting an end around with fast little Trey Tucker to catch up to 10-7. Go back, we ended up getting right before the half into field goal range, and Carlson hit a 52-yarder to go ahead and tie it up right before the half. There was an instance just before the first half ended where we could possibly try to take a shot down the field, maybe grab some yardage, kick another field goal. But Raiders decided to go ahead and take a kneel down and call it at the half. We come back, third quarter, we start going strong. We put some plays together. We hit a field goal from Carlson. And then that's really when the Raiders started taking charge. DJ Turner with a sweep, and he ended up getting in that end zone, and we went up 20-10. But towards the third, fourth quarter, Zimri White did have a fumble, and that did cost us a touchdown. Now the Browns caught up. It's 20-16 at this point. Unfortunately, their kicker missed the extra point, and that was a big difference in the game. It really forced the Browns' hand to really go for that touchdown instead of kicking a field goal at any point in the fourth quarter. We ended up getting the big stop from Charles Snowden. This is a newcomer to the Raiders, and he's able to go ahead and make an impact at the end. He did two tackles, but the game-winning one to stuff Deshaun Watson and sack him, and that was the game. Again, 20-16 was the final score. This was a very important win that we were able to go ahead and get going into Week 5 versus the Broncos, which they won their game today, unfortunately. So we actually have the same identical record right now going into Week 5, but this is a much-needed boost where we're able to go ahead and get a victory without Max Crosby, without Devontae Adams. We didn't even have Michael Mayer either. We had some guys hurt as well. We have Munford that was hurt as well. So despite all those injuries, we're able to go ahead and overcome that and still pull off a victory. Now, we're about to go and get into some highlights here, but really the hero of the game was Snowden, getting that late hit on Watson to seal the game. And at that point, the Browns were they were in the red zone, threatening to go ahead and score. And fortunately, we forced a hand to go for it on fourth and 3, and Snowden was there to go ahead and get that stop. So that goes to show a lot of adversity that the Raiders had to overcome. We had our mental miscues, and so did they. The fourth quarter, Raiders really couldn't put anything together to really solidify the lead. We always were within that 4-point lead, and we really couldn't put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, until the very end. So let's go into some highlights. and see basically everything, all the excitement that was today's game. Um, and before I do that, um, let me just say I am very happy that we won today. There was a lot of naysayers that um, didn't think that this was going to happen. A lot of people sold their tickets. It was actually um, half and half Browns, half Raiders at today's game at Allegiant. And that's because of all the injuries that happened. A lot of people didn't think that we were going to go ahead and pull off, and then also the way that the offense has been playing the last few weeks. Uh, you know, everybody, there was a lot of people that doubted. So I'm glad that we were able to go ahead and prove them wrong. And let's get into some highlights here. The Browns start off early in the game, and they really start driving the ball down to the red zone. And let's go ahead and go into that play. So we had that roughing the passer play, uh, the play earlier, and that kind of was a little bit of a bullshit call. Uh, Watson got hit right as he threw the ball. Fortunately, we got that call back later in that game, so it kind of canceled each other out. And that's the thing about when we get calls like these, where they're highly suspect. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Usually, refs will go ahead and call the same type of penalty on the opposing team later on. So what we want to look for is make sure that the penalties cancel out. If you're going to call something on us, make sure you're also calling it on the other team. So fortunately, that happened. I wanted to point that out because I really thought that hit wasn't roughing the passer. He got hit pretty square. It wasn't a late hit. So let's go back into it. And here we go to the first score by the Browns. And that was 15 plays for a touchdown. Browns started off fast in this game, and they really went ahead and tried to dictate the pace of the game early on with that score. Let's go ahead and go into our opening drive. And like I said earlier, we really didn't put anything together this first quarter. It was a lot of three and out. That the previous uh, drive from the Browns took up a lot of time, so we really didn't get out there till about mid first quarter, and then we go. We kind of go three and out, but let's kind of go back into the highlight here. And you have the Browns here. They're driving down, really couldn't put anything together, and they go for the field goal. and that puts them up 10-0. And we get on the second quarter, we do get Brock Bowers going, and that was one of the keys to try to get the offense really started. And we did see Brock Bowers get touches. Unfortunately, he did not get his first touchdown here in this game, but when he did touch the ball, it was pretty impactful. So let's go back into it. And there you go, Trey Tucker really having a great game. I was going to say a solid game, but it's really a great game. He made an impact without having Devontae Adams in the game. He had one touchdown, as you see. He had a lot of catches. He actually had um, 15 catches for 41 yards in that game, and then plus the jet sweep touchdown, we're just going to go into right now. So let's go into it. All right. So one of the biggest things about this game also that I forgot to mention is that we finally got the run game going. It took, I don't know how long, this is the fourth game. It took us 4 games to really get the run game going. We had 152 yards rushing. We had 116 yards passing. Total yards was 268 yards. But the biggest thing here, the run game was established. As you see, McAllister had a really solid game. Zeus did not have a good game, and I will go into right after the highlights why that didn't happen. As the biggest thing to point out, obviously that fumble, and once that happened, we really didn't see him. We really didn't see much of him after that incident. But let's go back to some highlights here. All right, and you saw that touchdown by Trey Tucker puts us up. Last year gets us caught up 10-7, and we're back in business. And that was really important for us to go ahead and try to get a score before that first half ended. It's one thing going down 10-7, another thing being down 10-0. It looks like at that point we started getting a rhythm going, and at least we're within 3 points. Let's get back into the highlights. So Browns tried to go ahead and actually respond back, but they really couldn't get anything going uh, in that quarter. Now, one of the people to point out in this game was Alexander Madison. He balled out today. He had a lot of chunk. He had most of the chunk of that yardage uh, for this game, and definitely is something to think about putting him in that RB1 spot. But Madison had a really, really solid game today. Uh, just wanted to go ahead and point that out because he is one of the leaders for that 152-yard rushing that we got today. And as you saw, Zeus had a drop pass right there, and this one of the many miscues he had today. Unfortunately, that prevented us from keeping that drive going, and we had to settle for a field goal by Carlson, that 52-yarder. But that did tie us up going into the half. Uh, Again, like I said, there was an opportunity where the Raiders did get a ball back, and we had the opportunity to probably take a couple shots down the field to try to get some yardage to possibly get another field goal. Fortunately, Antonio Pierce decided not to go ahead and do that, and we took a kneel and then ended that half. So let's go into the second half. So we start the opening second half with a strike to Jacoby Myers. And then we get the other tight end, Harrison Bryant, and that starts getting us into the red zone. And let's go into this next highlight. And it's a strike to Jacoby Myers. And unfortunately, we tried to check the fade with Jacoby. We didn't get the flag on that one. And we had to settle for the field goal. And that puts us up 13-10. All right. So we're starting to see the Browns drive here. And Amari had some catches in this game. And now you see the interception by Trayvon Moehrig. And this was a spectacular catch made by Moehrig in this game. Perfect timing. Really, when Browns started putting the drive together, we were able to go ahead and get that interception and be able to go ahead and set up in great field position. So now we're starting at midfield. And Minshew really he really threads the needle on this one with Jacoby Myers. But we're able to go ahead and pick up that first down. And again, Madison having that great game really was the one that kind of opened up that run game for in this game. And as you saw, DJ Turner with that sweet touchdown, and that puts us up 20-10. Right now, we're feeling really good. I knew I was. I thought we're pretty much on cruise control at this point. I knew we had to go ahead and finish it, but I had faith in our defense so long as we really didn't give up a touchdown. We were in really in a good position. Now, we're about to go into, shortly, we're about to get into some footage of what happened to actually have the Browns catch up to us. So let's go into that. And the defense really did step up, and we did get some pressure on Watson. And you see here, this is the big miscue, a fumble by Zamir White, and it couldn't happen at the worst position where I believe we were like in the 20, and he coughs up the ball. Uh, 30-yard line, and he coughs up the ball. This is one of the reasons why Zeus should not be RB1. Yes, he did have a shitty game, but also, too, he really hasn't put any significant yardage in the 4 weeks of the season. So that is something definitely we have to go ahead and kind of reevaluate to make sure that, is this the guy that we want to go ahead and put the ball in their hands? And as you see there, not the right choice. And you kind of really don't see much of him for the rest of the game after this play. But despite this, we were still able to go ahead and, play some solid football when it really counted. So let's go back into the highlight. And again, Brock Bowers being involved in the offense, he didn't have a whole lot of touches, but there were some significant ones. All right. So we're going to go into the final play. The game-winning stop to clinch the game by Snowden. The Raiders and the Browns really couldn't get much going into the very end here, where the Browns actually got within the red zone and threatened to score with less than a minute to go in the game. So let's go ahead and go into that. And that was the game. As you saw there, nail biter, very exciting. I was in the edge of my seat. That last drive by the Browns, I don't know whether or not we can actually pull it off the win and close it out, but we did. Came up clutch in the perfect time. And so, again, the final score, 20-16. Let's talk about the key players in this game. Trey Tucker, little Trey Tucker. I keep talking about him, the speedster. And as you saw in this game, he made an impact, got a touchdown. DJ Turner, another one, somebody that we saw in preseason. I believe he was on the practice squad, got elevated to the active roster, and he had a really good game today. Brock Bowers having another solid game. He didn't have a whole lot of touches, but he did have it when it did count. Brock Bowers had technically had two receptions. One was a jet sweep, so that didn't count, but he had 2 receptions, 19 yards. Still, he is making an impact, just being out there. That's another person for them, for the defense to go ahead and think about. Charles Snowden having a great game and getting that clincher. Christian Wilkins did have also a good game. He did go ahead and get a sack during the game as well. And you know, defense really did step up. Now, a couple of things here to point out that I posted in my Instagram earlier today. Jack Jones did not play that first quarter. I don't know if anybody noticed it, but he was actually benched. It was addressed during the press conference with AP, and they said there was something between him and Jack, but he did not play that first quarter, and maybe that did impact the game. They did go up 10-0. So was it the right choice? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure Coach had a point to prove, which he did. Zamir White, this was not his best game at all. It was pretty crappy. He really didn't get the run game going. He only had really one or two touches that were significant yardage. But other than that, as you see, drop ball, and then that fumble after 30 that cost us an actual touchdown. Fortunately, that kicker missed the extra point, and that gave us a four-point advantage, and that was a difference maker in that game. So let's go ahead and talk about next week's game in Denver versus the Broncos. I'm going to be there at that game, but Broncos did win their game today, and it was not an impressive game. To be honest, I did not watch it, but just looking at the scores and the highlights here, final score for them was 10-9. Denver really had just one touchdown in that game, and that really proved to be the difference. Jets had no offense in this game. Literally all their 9 points was from field goals, and Denver ended up hitting a field goal, and that was the decisive game winner that put them up. Now, 2-2. We do have the same identical record. Now, I feel that mounting this win and how the only reason that it was a 20-16 and not 20-10 score is because of Zamir White. If that fumble did not happen, which was just a miscue on our end, they did not beat us, I feel that it would have been more decisive, and the game would have been farther out of reach. So I feel going into this week versus Denver, we do have the advantage. Now, we'll see whether or not Max is able to go ahead and play. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be practicing this week. I believe they're off until Wednesday. Same thing goes for Devontae. Now, Devontae's is a little bit more complex because it is a hamstring. And I think also for him, I don't think you're going to see much of him practicing this week. And it'll probably be day by day. It might be almost a game time decision whether or not they decide to go ahead and play Devontae on Sunday. But I see this. It will be a close game because anytime you play the Broncos, it is usually a pretty close game. So I say for this game, we do put up another 20, but it will probably be 21-17. I'm calling it 21-17. But we do get the victory. We go up 3-2 at that point, going into the following week. But it's going to be a very exciting game. It's going to be another edge of your seat. It always is versus the Broncos. It's never a dull moment. We never really had a big blowout game. We put the nail on the coffin on them and that's different. But we never really blown them out like we did to the Chargers. So really watch carefully. Don't go too far because, again, it's going to be a very exciting close game. But I will be out in Denver for that game. I will go ahead and probably try to do a podcast the day before, and then try to do a podcast that evening right after the game. And might have some guests, might not, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Going to go to the Raider pregame party at the Raider bar. There's only one Raider bar in Denver. I'll be there. Try to get some footage out there for everyone. I'll be posting up on Instagram. So definitely be checking me out on my socials. But again, we pulled off the win, a very much needed win. Now we're going 2-2, going into Denver, week 5. Very exciting. Again, I'll be in Denver for that game, so make sure if you do see me, hit me up. Follow me on my socials, Instagram, JRaider_505. That's JRaider_505. And then here at my podcast on YouTube, and also now on Daily Motion, Just Raiders Baby podcast. Again, that's Just Raiders Baby podcast. Well, again, my mood is very, very excited that we're able to go ahead and pull off this win. I can go ahead and sleep good tonight, knowing that we're 2-2 and we pulled it off despite not having Devontae or Max Crosby today. But that is it. That is the show. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to again to catch me on my socials, but just remember, just Raiders, baby.